All right, this video is more information on using some big reports. We're going to look at the student monitoring tool, which the district has very kindly added on some functionality for us. In fact, as we continue to look at things, if there's something you want to see that you're not seeing, please send me an email and I will ask the district. They might be able to add stuff. You should have received an email from me that said something like, do not delete Washoe County Big. Please save that email. If you did not receive it, send me an email and I'll get it to you. But I'm going to go ahead and click this. This will get me to the Big website. You can only access this from a school district computer in a school district building. I'm going to use the student monitoring tool, which I've used before a fair amount. That's why it's showing up here. If you've never used it, you would go to Report Catalog. This is in alphabetical order, and you could click on it there as well. Now, I'm going to minimize this in just a moment because I don't want you to see any student data that could be identifiable, but you would go ahead and click the school. You could filter out grades and different populations, and then you could click, whichever teachers you want to see. So like if you're looking at a whole PLC, you might decide that you're going to look at maybe multiple teachers. And I've got all of my courses on here right now that I'm teaching this year, but you could potentially choose to limit it to just certain courses. You would normally click View Report, but I am not going to do that because I am not wanting to show student data. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what it looks like after I've downloaded it to an Excel document. So this has the same information, but this is now in Excel instead of the web browser. I've lost a little bit of functionality by doing this, but at least I'm keeping the students anonymous. So normally there's a couple extra columns here with the student names, and those columns are fixed as you scroll to the right. I'm not going to go ahead and spend the time to do that because we're not trying to identify a student anyway. But it has quite a bit of information, including where they are, what period you have them, whatever teachers you click, their counselor, their race, whether or not they're on an IEP now or maybe even have been recently, what type of disability they've been diagnosed with, whether or not they're EL now and maybe have been previously. There's also on here the English proficiency level. So if they only speak English versus maybe they speak a different language and they are developing or reaching what level they've tested at. This is interesting. This will show you under attendance how frequently someone's been absent so far this school year. You can see I've got, one right here who's already been absent twice. Many kids have been here a lot, but this kiddo's been absent 4 times and has been absent actually like this column you can't see. Normally these column headings stay fixed as well, but I'm in Excel, so it's not quite as functional. How frequently have they been absent so far this school year? And how frequently were they absent last year? And so this right here is helpful information as you're trying to figure out maybe which students you're worried about. This is their Smarter Balanced data from when they were in middle school. Depending on the age of the student, this may or may not be helpful information, but it could be. Sometimes those foundational skills still really impact kids in content areas for many, many years. Level 1 is the lowest level. Level 4 is the highest level. So you can kind of see I've got a pretty big mix. Now MAP data, we've asked the data, this is growth, which isn't showing up. Science. Science, if they've taken the science scale test, how they've performed and when they took it. I think that there's like a middle school one, and I don't know if they take this. I don't think this has, maybe this is the high school proficiency one as well. Here's the high school. Some of the older students have that listed as well. Now the MAP data is not populating, and the reason why is the district is moving away from MAP. You can still get this data in a different way. I'll show you in a minute if you really want it for a student, but it's not populating in this report. The risk indices is populating, but right now mostly just populating for the credit deficiency. So if somebody is at risk of not graduating, you're going to see a number in this column. A 1 is a low risk. It goes all the way up to 4, which is high risk. So we've got some students who I've in my classes who are off track. We have some that are on track for graduation. Sometimes it's a really, really low risk, and maybe they're just missing one little thing, like maybe they haven't taken the ACT yet. Those higher numbers, though, indicate that there's more issues going on with credits or something else. As the year goes on, you'll start to see these other categories start to populate. Not sure why there's a spelling error there. Sorry about that. This also will tell you their kind of their graduation information. This might indicate for you that you've got some students that you want to look at more closely. So there are some other tools on Big that are helpful that you might decide you want to look at. So there's another report, and I'm going to go back to this just because I just am nervous about showing student data, to show you another report that's helpful, and that's the student profile. So if you click student profile, and again, you may have had to find that in the alphabetical listing instead, that's fine. But if you click student profile, you have to pick your school, and you could pick a grade. And so if you populate a grade, maybe I have some seniors or juniors that I'm worried about. If you click that, you're going to start to see students populate. I'm not going to do that right now. And you could click one student at a time, but I will show you a little bit of what can be shown on this information from the student profile. Let's see. Let me pause the video real quickly so I can pull that up. Okay, so I went ahead and populated one of those student profiles, and I removed the identifying features from the student. So normally there'd be like a picture and the student's name and more information. I ended up deciding to do a freshman because freshmen have a little bit more data in the Smarter Balanced because of COVID. Some of our older students don't have some of this information, but there is some data in here where you could kind of see their Smarter Balance if they're growing or moving down. You can also see on this information, oh, maybe not. Okay, I'm going to pause this again and get an older student so you guys can see kind of the classes, that information that's available. Okay, I decided the student profile didn't have quite what I was looking for. So I'm back at the student monitoring tool, and in the column that has all of the student ID numbers, I'm not going to click on it. If you click on a student, you can get to the graduation profile. So I'm going to go ahead and show that. This is a student. I've removed the identifying information, just making sure I didn't miss anything. And this student, if I wanted to find a little bit more information, this will tell me for each, not just the total number of credits, but the number of credits in each category for graduation requirements that the student has earned, what they're on track with, what they've already done, and what they still need to work on. So you can kind of see like the student's off track for math, which is probably why they're with me. They haven't also done their flex credit. It's not yet time for them to take the civics exam or the ACT. So this student will be doing that this year. I believe this was a junior that I clicked on. The student is pretty severely credit deficient. You can see the GPA. And if I go down a little bit, this is something that might be helpful. You can get the transcript for that student really, really quickly. And it is grouped, not by year, but by category, which is a little easier to read than the one on Infinite Campus. So you can see, for example, if you're an English teacher, you can see not just the credit earned in English, but the grades, which is, I think, kind of nice to see that the students started off really poorly, but actually has shown progress in English if we look at those grades. Math, not so much. Science has been pretty strong all the way through consistently for each of those semesters. So this gives you a little bit more information that way. This will also tell you if the student has potential for an advanced diploma, the student is not really on track for that, but has done well in the science. So science is on track for that. Same thing with an honors diploma, what they've had completed, what maybe they are working on so far. Career and college readiness, where they're off for that, and what's on track and what's going well. We'll also tell them college readiness. This student has not yet taken the ACT, so there's not information here. Whether or not they've taken the ASVAB or some of the CTE certificates, and whether or not they're on track for the Millennium Scholarship. Some students are a little bit older and are going to have a little bit more information in this, but that grad profile I think gives a lot of information with one click versus if in Infinite Campus, you have to keep clipping different tabs back and forth. So this might be something you find helpful. And again, you could get that from that student monitoring tool, and you could click it with any kid you're interested in. Hope this video is helpful.